goal right now? To get a better ROAS?
Yeah, it's just better ROAS because when I started, if you look around, even June time, also the ROAS have average of three, just about three. In
Okay,
Yeah, I do understand that at that time with lockdown and all that, some more competition. But at the moment, I want to be at least 2.5 plus.
2.5.
Yeah,
Perfect. Okay, and you've achieved numbers like that before.
yeah, I've achieved more than four.
Okay, and do you know why it's down?
I'm guessing simply because it's due to the number of, the length of time I'm running the campaign. It could be ad fatigue, or I have changed the ads in the middle, I'm brought in fresh ads. So either it could be audience fatigue because the first time impression ratio has gone down significantly for some of the ads.
Yeah. So in this case, this one's auction overlap and first time impression ratio is pretty low. So you have a,
I'll show you the main ones actually. This
so
one.
in this case, because of this, you would want to turn this one off because they're both the same, you see,
Yeah,
or at least they look similar.
yeah.
Okay. Well, no, this one has overlap no matter what. So I'd turn this one off.
Okay, yeah,
And you see $50. I mean, if you look at the
yeah.
website ROAS, it's no good. This one looks fine.
The major campaigns are the ones, the last two ones you can see.
Any reason why you turned this one off?
It wasn't performing for the last 3 days, basically.
Okay. So it's gotten a few purchases here and there.
Yeah.
Auction overlaps up above 11%. Auction overlaps below. It's actually not that bad, but your auction competition's up a little bit. Okay, but it's at a 2.88. If we do this week, I see. So it got pretty pricey. That makes sense. Got it. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. This one here, you ended up cutting. Okay, got it. All right, that's fine. I would say that, let's see here. So your first time impression ratio is going down. It's gone up a little bit. Your auction overlap's not too bad. In this case, since you are getting purchases, you might actually be overspending in this audience, which is what's raising your cost here.
Okay.
So I would actually cut this budget in half to let it restabilize before you decide to scale again.
Okay.
So that's what I do here.
So
I cut that one in half. And then this one here, this one's at 1.85. Looks like you have two audiences in here. Are these both the same?
Yeah, they are.
Okay. Let's see here. And as you can see, your auction overlap is much higher on these because they are the same. And because of that, it's raising your cost.
Yeah, no, I'll start turning those off now.
So what I would do is, let's see here. Yeah, so I would turn off one of these two. You have to decide which one. It doesn't really matter because they're both the same audience. So, I mean, no matter what, it'll improve the other one once you do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So once you turn off one of those, that'll help fix that. Essentially, you're just wanting to prevent a lot of overlap and auction competition so you can shave off, a lot of this loss you're having in your ROAS because you are bidding against yourself in so many cases.
So if I get an overlap, I'm competing against myself.
If you what?
So if I get an auction overlap, am I competing against myself?
Anything that's auction overlap is competing against yourself. Yep.
Oh,
Anything with auction competition means you're competing against another, other people.
okay.
Yeah. And you can see too which audiences it is. Like if you go to your auction overlap here and you hit show additional insights.
I've seen that.
Yeah, you can check. And it looks like, just this one alone, the 1%, you're competing with this one here. And I'm assuming these are the same, right?
Yeah, they are.
So yeah, like that's the thing. Like it's competing against itself, and I just turn one of them off, and that'll improve your results alone, right?
Okay.
And
And what should be the it should be below 3, I'm guessing.
below three, below what three?
The auction overlap, what percentage should it be below?
I mean, ideally, yeah, you don't want auction overlap higher than like 5%. I mean, you could have up to 20, but I mean, realistically, like if you have the same audience, I mean, you should just go ahead and turn it off.
Yeah. Okay, it makes sense.
And then broad testing, this one's at 1.24, 1.1.
Again, these
And
companies have been dying off. They worked really well for like a month and a half, but they started dying off a lot.
yeah, that could be your actual product potentially. Yeah, your result rate is at a 0.03. You want a 0.1 here at least.
Okay.
I'd shoot for a 0.1.
So how would I go about getting towards point one?
Scaling back because you might be overspending in this audience, which is indicative of this. And then you also might have exhausted creatives. I wouldn't say it's the audience that's been exhausted because this audience, let's see what the impression ratio is here. Okay, well, I mean, like you are reaching the same people more often, and your auction competition actually is increasing. So let's see what audiences you are potentially overlapping with this type of audience. Yeah, so you have a lot of overlap between a lot of different audiences here. And so realistically, you should just consolidate a bunch of this. So just go through and check for these things. Your retargeting is at a 2.56. So that's good. And it looks like this is the only one you've tested a highest value with. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, usually retargeting is higher on ROAS is always higher on retargeting. It just naturally makes sense. But
Yeah.
it also concerns me that this is the only thing that you have highest value with. So I would actually test just to rule this out to confirm if highest value doesn't have an impact on your ROAS on these other ones. If you
Okay.
choose highest value, you're going to
Mhm.
get better return on ad spend. But if you choose lowest value, you're just going to get lower cost. Are you only selling one product?
Yes, it's just one product still.
Okay. Then you should always go off the highest value if you can, right? Because think about it this way. Here is an example we could look at. This one here is at 1583
Yeah.
in cost per purchase. That looks good, right? This one's at 1746. So based off these two, which one would you turn off if you were looking at cost per result? This one's higher than this one. You'd probably turn off this one, right?
Yeah.
Well, guess which one's making you more money? It's actually the one that costs higher per purchase because your return on ad spend's higher.
Yeah.
So that means people in this audience are buying a little bit more products than the people in this audience are. So if you
Yeah.
go for highest value, it's naturally going to be going for a higher return on ad spend.
Okay, so I should test them in highest value as well.
Yes, exactly.
Uh-huh.
Which is why you see like your highest value, you could get a situation where you're paying 1555 and getting a 2.56 versus paying 1583 over here for lowest cost and only getting a 1.96.
Okay.
Makes sense. So I'd test highest value as well. And then for this one, it looks like this one's the only one that's actually maintaining a 2 in the last 7 days.
Yeah,
So
again, if you look at the lifetime for this one, it's a huge spend on this. I spent nearly $20,000 on this
mhm,
ad sets and campaigns only.
mhm. And this one, is this ad creative in all of your audiences?
Yep, it is.
Okay. Now you don't have, from the looks of it, I'll confirm this, but it doesn't look like you have much lookalikes, if any, really, other than maybe up here.
Yeah, I've got lookalike running, purchase lookalike here, the fourth one down. I've tried a few other lookalikes. It's just some of them haven't been stable enough, so I kept turning them off.
Yeah. So those are all the recommendations. Are try to eliminate as much overlap as possible. Turn off the underperforming audiences.
Yeah.
Make sure you have your best performing creatives in the other ones. Test highest value, and also ensure that you have every good ad in each audience, and also test new ads as well, so you can see if there's anything out there that might perform better.
Yeah, it's just this is the main one I want to show you. So if you look here, every week the ROAS have just been going down mostly, except this week has been a bit better.
Right. I do see that. In this one here, in this audience, it
It
looks
has,
like,
in total, this has, spent $12,500 maybe on this ad set itself.
yeah, you want to go back to that view you just had.
Sorry. Yeah.
So where's the ROAS again on this one?
ROAS is just on the side. There you go.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's been decreasing over a long period of time.
Yeah. So like,
Have
if
you
you
always had the same creatives in here?
no, in the middle I did switch the creative when it started going down. Then it went up for a bit again, but it started going down again.
But wait, I'm sorry, I might have missed it. You said you hadn't always had the same ones?
Not the same one. So like initially the ones I started with, they worked very well for a few months, the first 2 months, but after that they started, not performing. So then I had to switch them and bring in some other ones. Like this is the one you're looking at now. That's the one that was working pretty well.
Now, did you change anything on the website between now and then, or has
Nothing
everything remained the exact same since?
yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, you might just want to keep launching more new creatives to test. So that way you can see.
Because these ads, they've got very good engagement. We've got like 2,000-3,000 comments on some of them, and
Yeah.
bringing in.
And you're in interest audiences. So another thing is, like, you could have more advertisers popping up into this audience, which could be raising your costs as well. I mean, look at this. Your auction overlap went through the roof come just July 12th. And, that's kind of around the time you said that you've been reporting some issues. And yeah, here it is right here. Exactly what I was just saying. Your auction competition went up super quickly. So like back in May, you weren't competing against anybody. You actually had an 18% advantage. There was minus 18% auction competition, meaning you had an above average amount of opportunities in there because there was less advertisers than usual. The average is like, the auction competition average is 0. So if you're negative 18, that means that you're 18%, you have an 18% better chance of winning the bid because there's less advertisers. But then the tides totally flipped and you had nearly 30% competition. And that's also when you've been reporting your costs going down. So, I mean, these two things combined shot your audience. So the biggest way to combat auction competition is lookalikes, because they're unique to your data. They change on their own. They're always adjusting. So therefore you're always able to maneuver out of, other people trying to overlap in your targeting with your people. That'll help solve this. Then to solve auction overlap, you actually have fewer audiences, bigger audience sizes. Got it?
Okay.
And don't use the same audience twice. That'll solve this. Once you have those two things solved, then it literally comes down to your creative website and your copy. And if you have good ads that are converting, then you have no issue. And then it's just really opportunities
All
to
the
scale.
ads I've created, I have converted decently well.
Oh, okay, then yeah. So like this is your issue, these two things. I mean, you tell me, can't you like see here, right here, what happened? I mean, it's still growing. I mean, it's going up. This is a trend line. If we put a trend line right through this thing, it'd be taking off.
It's a positive
And look, your
foundation.
cost per purchase, it's been going up, like getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. It makes sense. So at the highest peak of this and the highest peak of this is also at the highest peak of your cost per purchase. So those are direct indicators that those are all correlated, right? And if we throw in your first time impression ratio, that also has an effect. So it's also at its lowest. I mean, if you take all of these things and overlap them, this is like, the equal point of like where things are really going and it's not going
Yeah.
in a good direction. So that's how you fix it. Cut out those audiences, prevent the overlap, go to lookalikes, try highest value, and those will change a bunch of things in your account. You're not going to see immediate results because it's going to be such a big shift in like it hasn't really optimized for this type of structure before, but over time it's going to get way better and you'll see much better performance like you did back in these days than as compared to what's going on now. As we can clearly see, something's changed as compared to the where you
It's
came
just
from.
it's just that after the lockdown, a lot of things started opening up.
Mm,
That could be a big reason.
yeah. So I would go ahead and do those things.
And does the frequency make a difference as well? Because it's 1.9 at the moment.
So I mean, frequency is such a I'm split on frequency in a lot of cases because frequency. There's cases where we've seen like a frequency score of like somebody having frequency 26, but having like a cost per purchase of $1.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then there's cases where we see like frequencies going to 2 and then like it going out, like the audience just like giving up. It kind of depends on the creative in that aspect because if it's a creative that is really high quality and people love the creative and it's, it can be shown multiple times and with every time it shows, it gets better like this, that's fine for your frequencies when you have
Okay.
above average because people like it. And if there's lots of engagement, high frequencies are okay because there's always new comments. There's always new things. It's not,
Yeah.
old. It doesn't get old. And if it's not annoying and it actually is an enjoyable creative and these are upholding above average, then you're fine. And especially if your conversion rates are upholding that too. I wouldn't say these are the biggest indicators, but that plays a big part in understanding if you're okay with a high frequency score or low. But it does go case by case basis. So you kind of have to look at it that way.
Okay. So basically, I should mostly start putting up new lookalikes, isn't it?
Yep. That'll help auction competition. Then don't do duplicate audiences.
Okay. Like
That'll,
I did start a lookalike. If I show you now, there was one. What was it? Sorry. Trying to, yeah, this one. So I was testing a few ads, but out of which, so basically the way I test is, I'm not sure if this is correct. What I just wait till 5,000 impressions. What I've noticed is after 5,000 impressions, I mostly do get a purchase. But out of these two, these 5%, it's only 1 and 2% worked. So should I take them into a new CVO and leave the other
what does
three?
OLC stand for?
That's the website name basically, or is it
Oh,
1?
okay.
Because these are basically high value products. So I offer a digital version of a product, which is around $26, which most of the other campaigns are working on. Then there are few which are high value. They start from $45 and they go to 70. So if you can see here on one ad, it bought in $220 and one purchase average is $67.
Right. Yeah. So you're gonna have to try different lookalike audiences to test and see which ones are working. Trying add to carts, trying the initiate checkout, trying your purchase, trying your engagement lookalikes to see which ones are really working. If you're getting a lot of engagements on your ad and people are loving it, then I mean, like that's an audience that's always a good one to test. So that way you can really see
Okay. All
and
right.
only have your best ads in there.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So I only got, like, for this one, I've only got 3 ads in here, and
Correct.
the same one which you saw everywhere else has worked again.
Yeah, that
So,
makes sense.
so now after this, once I've tested it, I can see like all of them. 2 of them got 2,000 impressions. Should I just the one that's worked? Should I take that one and leave the other ones back?
Yeah, if the other one's never got any purchases, and yeah, just keep the one that does.
But shouldn't the C so should I make 3 duplicates of this one?
No, don't duplicate it.
Don't duplicate the ad.
No,
Okay.
just leave it alone. Because you
All
want
right.
this thing to exit learning as well.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
No,
Yep.
no, one ad set, but 3 duplicates of the ad creative.
No, don't do it.
Oh,
You'll disturb your learning process. Leave it alone. Don't do any duplicates of anything.
all right, that's fine. That's all right then. That's fine. I'll do that.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah. So those are the recommendations. I know there's a lot, but I mean, I'd get started on those things and that'll help.
Perfect. I'll start on that right away.
Cool. Awesome. Well, all right. I appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you on some of those calls.
Sure. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thank you. Alrighty. Bye.
Yeah.